Here's how you can tween Eclipse GeoPaint to make an animation kind of like how I made this one by using keyframes. The first step of using the keyframes feature is to separate your drawing into different sections. You want to have each section that's moving in a different layer. Well, in a different animation layer. You can make a new animation layer and folder by pressing these buttons. This will make a new folder, and this will make a new cell which you can draw on. And here you can see it in the layers folder, and you can see that I've named each of the parts. We have the arm and the body. Now, in order to tween these, you will want to have to enable keyframes, and that's this layer right here. And once you have that, you won't be able to edit it anymore, so make sure your drawing is complete before you do this, or your animation is complete before you do this. If you do want, you can go back and click this again and edit it, and then go back and it will save your keyframes. But I like to make sure that everything is completed before I do the keyframe movement, otherwise it can make it a bit janky. Now, once you have that keyframes selected, you can click this button right here, Add Keyframe, to add a keyframe. There are a couple different settings which are basically just different variations of movement and how it moves. You can test out which one you like the most, but I'll also show you later. To do the movement of so-called tweening with these keyframes, you're going to have one keyframe which is where you want the motion to start, and another keyframe where you want that movement to stop happening. So this dot will be, well, this diamond will be your start frame, and this will be your end frame for specific movement. Now, if you want to actually move it, you have to make sure that you actually select the keyframe diamond itself. If you select just the cell right here, it will not do anything. You have to make sure to select this, and then you have to select the cube operation thing in order to move it, and it will give you this blue box. Here is where you can move your object however you want. This will be your start frame, so I'm just going to have the hand holding still. And then if I go over to the ending movement, let's say I want to move it like this. You can do whatever movement you like with the keyframes, and then it automatically does the movement for you. There's also a whole bunch of different movements that you can do. If you don't want to rotate it, you can just move it up, and it will go up. And make sure you don't do what I did and have a random squiggle. But like I said before, you can just remove the keyframes function, which will delete all of the movement, and then you can click back on that layer and fix whatever mistake you made. And then once you click that back on, the movement is still there. You can do multiple different movements at the same time too. So let's say I want to have it go up, but I also want it to go like this. Make sure you move it back to the same position, and it will do that. You can also add movements in the middle. It will still be like that, but say you want it to twist a little and go out first. You can do that. Now, the more spaced apart, the slower it will be, and then you can do the different movement types when you select it, and then you can do all of these different things. The different settings will have different colors. You can see that one. It doesn't change it too much because this is such a small movement, but it's a pretty useful feature, especially if you're making something walk, run, or you just want a simple movement like that. Or if you're going for the tweening art style for your animations. Now, another thing that you can do with keyframes is have camera movements which can be very, very helpful. So, what you're first going to want to do is go to Animation, New Animation Layer, 2D Camera folder, and that will create your camera, but you realize it doesn't really do anything at first, and that means you have to add the keyframes. Let's say we want it to zoom in, and it will give you a screen that shows the camera moving. However, in order to have it actually affect the animation, you have to go and select your animation layers and put them within the camera folder. And then when it plays, the camera will move. So that's how you can use keyframes in Clips 2U Paint. Let me know if there's any other tutorials that you guys would like.